When I first heard about the Animaniacs reboot, I was a little worried about it. I mean, everything gets rebooted nowadays. Everything gets rebooted. And the thing about Animaniacs is that it's a time capsule of its time. I remember when Animaniacs first aired. I remember that era of the 90s when you had Tiny Toon Adventures, Animaniacs, you had the Disney Afternoon, you had Pinky and the Brain. I grew up with that. I'm a 90s kid. And, it made me wonder, like, can this show really work in 2020? Are the voice actors going to be, equally as, they're talented, but are they going to be older? Are they going to be able to still carry the wacky lines? How's the animation going to look? Is it still going to work satirically? Can this show work in 2020? It really is a question you got to think about, because a lot of these reboots just don't work. They either rely too much on nostalgia or they forget where they came from. It's very hard to find a balance, I think. And tonight, the Animaniacs first reboot episode aired on Twitter, and I did watch it from the official Animaniacs Twitter page. It was available for free on streaming there. It's on Hulu now. And first thing I gotta say is I was very excited and very happy to be back with that cast and be back with these characters. They started off with this Jurassic Park parody called Jurassic Lark, and Steven Spielberg was there. Again, going back to the 90s, it was so funny. The animation was modernized, of course, widescreen, much more flash style, much more digital. And seeing Yakko, Wacko, and Dot return for the first time in many years did bring up some emotions, because I have a lot of nostalgia for this show. I grew up with this show. I watched it with my parents. And I wondered, can this work? So what they did with this episode is they had like a couple of different they had one Pinky and the Brain skit, which they also came back. They had two Animaniacs skits, which is called Suspended Animation, if I remember correctly, where it's basically like them sort of catching up to what they missed for the past 22 years. Animaniacs ended back in 1998, and they had to catch up to all the crazy events of the world, like the different political elections, climate change, technology advancing. There's even a scene where Yakko eats a tablet, and then thinking it's like a pill tablet, right? And he gains the knowledge of the past 22 years. And it's really wacky, and it was a lot of fun. The thing is about Animaniacs is, as I'm watching this, I wondered, is this really going to last? Because I feel like if they had done like one movie or one like 45-minute special, it would be more effective. But can Animaniacs really pick up on the current pop culture state of the world, considering that they even admitted in the episode that these episodes were written 2 years ago? So anything going on in 2020, which is a lot of stuff has gone on this year, is probably not going to get mentioned right away. Now, with that being said, if you're out there and you know about cartoons and media, you know that right now South Park is the undisputed king of doing political satire. Nobody, no cartoon, no TV show can really screw with South Park. South Park's ability to make fun of the modern era, make fun of the world, so to speak, and the current events of the world is unparalleled. The Simpsons was able to do it at one time. Family Guy was able to do it at one time. And even Animaniacs did. And so I'm wondering, can Animaniacs work with it being so much cleaner than South Park? And I think for this first episode, it worked. I think what they really focused on was having these really fun songs. There were two songs. One of them was about catching up with everything that they missed in the past 22 years. And the second one was really about the idea of reboots. This episode was very self-referential, and it was very self-parodying, because they acknowledged many times that they have to do stuff for the demographics. They are, of course, under a lot of pressure. They have a new contract with Hulu. They're getting paid money. They're sellouts. That whole thing was addressed in this episode, effectively, I might add. And so, to me, it just kind of felt like it was really funny and clever. And they have to be clever. If you're not going to be as dirty as South Park, and South Park's also very clever, you have to be clever. And I thought that the way it looked, the way the faces were great. The new Animaniacs intro has come to life. Unfortunately, I didn't see any of the other characters there from Animaniacs except for Pinky and the Brain, which I'm wondering if we're even going to have them involved. Ralph was there, so that was cool, but I'm wondering who else will be involved, if they even will do that. I have no idea how it works. They had parodies of like the superhero genre and how there's all these superheroes running around the Warner Brothers lot, and they went back to the Warner Brothers, the Warner Tower, and there's a scene where Wacko picks up a sandwich. It says 22 years and 5-second rule and eats it. It was very disgusting but awesome. Pinky and the Brain episode was about the brain discovering Instagram, but it was called Insta validation or something like that. I forget. Something, a very good parody where he has this idea to hack Instagram and create this sort of mind control wave by making fun of like cute animals and him becoming one, and was able to sort of mind control the world into taking over them with this. But unfortunately, Pinky posted another meme right after it, but did not turn off the mind control gadget, and thus the brain was left behind. But it worked. I mean, it was effective. I thought it was in character for those two characters. The slapstick humor was here throughout the episode. My only concern, guys, is that I don't know if they're going to be able to keep this up for another 10 episodes or so. Like, if this is great, they're making fun of, like, what has been going on with the reboots and what the world has kind of come to, but is this what every episode's going to be? I'm not being pessimistic here. I'm just kind of curious. Like, is this what every episode's going to be? Because if so, it's going to get old real fast. The problem with reboots that we have to take into account here is that a lot of times when things are being rebooted, it's for stuff that kind of belonged in its place. The Animaniacs belong in the 90s. You know, Full House belongs in the 90s, and now we got Fuller House, which was a good sort of evolution of the series, but it still won't be as beloved as the original series. It's very hard for a reboot to really do as well as the original. And don't even get me started on the garbage that was Girl Meets World, bro. Girl Meets World is hot trash compared to the original show, right? We're talking about ice cream and horse manure here. But Animaniacs has a chance to shine, but I don't think it's going to be a long-lasting series, nor should it be. I mean, I think just a few episodes, bring it back, sell some merchandise, reunite the characters one more time, and then let it go, I think is the best thing to do, in my opinion. Because I don't know if they can keep it up, with, especially with so much competition out there now in the world when it comes to satire. The world now, compared to the 90s, is a lot more open. The internet has access to pretty much anything, including much filthier and dirtier comedy, independent comedy. You know, the world has changed. You know, TV isn't even the same anymore, right? So can Animaniacs really work in this era? All I'm going to say is I enjoyed the first episode. I had fun watching it. I got a little bit emotional because of my nostalgia, and I certainly hope that they continue on this path. So tell me what you thought about the first episode of Animaniacs, if you've seen it yet. 2020, of course. Were you a fan of the original show? You know, because I grew up with it, and the truth is I haven't really clamored to watch it since it first aired. So this is kind of like a thing where I just kind of stumbled on it. It's not a show that I really went back and revisited, and I wonder if others are going to have the same feeling. But I did enjoy this episode. I mean, I did like it. So I hope that others... We'll see. I mean, everybody has a right to their opinion. If you don't like it, I understand why, because Animaniacs is such a 90s thing. Thanks again for watching. Hope you have a great day, and we'll talk soon.